Hey friends, so this message about people really only knowing the true harm that they've done to someone else when the same thing happens to them, it's an interesting message that applies to something about the human condition that we don't always think about, but time and time again has proven to be true. It's almost like a distant cousin of you don't know what you've got until it's gone, because it brings our self-centeredness to the surface a little bit. That makes us see things. So when you say the words self-centered, by the way, people usually think about the negative connotation that this has. I mean, self-centeredness is not always 100% bad, but for the most part, being concerned only about ourselves is, not good. So when something happens and we hurt other people because of our words or our actions, the first thing we think about is how we feel about it. We might feel sad and remorseful about it, but look, the onus of pain about what happened is generally on the other person, or the victim, for lack of a better word. And while we can understand or be sorry or have empathy about someone else being hurt, we can never really know 100% of what that person truly feels. Some people will be far more deeply hurt than they are willing to express sometimes, and they might choose to brush it off for whatever reason. I've found that when people are truly, truly hurt, but say things like, "It's not a big deal, don't worry about it," they aren't doing it for themselves. They're really doing it more to make you feel better about what you did. Sometimes they are also trying to make those feelings seem smaller because they don't want to be thought of as overly dramatic or difficult or whatever, too. Honestly, it makes me kind of sad to think about people believing that they aren't allowed to show their true feelings because they might be judged that way. That's one of several reasons why I talk about your feelings being valid all the time on this channel, because, well, they are. You're allowed to feel them, and nobody can really tell you that you can't. Especially not the person that hurt those feelings. They have no say in, well, any of it, including in how you choose to heal from what they did. To try to tell you that you shouldn't be upset or mad anymore about anything is, well, dismissive and frankly a little bit disrespectful, too. Anyway, all this is really to say that, yes, we can never truly know 100% of how another person feels. And that's actually something that's a good thing, because most of us aren't mind readers, thank goodness. It is, well, it wouldn't be good for anyone's relationships to hear other people's inner thoughts. I tend to think that what other people think of you is mostly none of your business anyway. With that said, for a whole lot of people, the only way that they will get to truly understand exactly how they made that other person feel that they hurt is when the same thing, or worse, happens to them personally. That is unfortunate, because we really should be more empathetic and less careless with other people's feelings in the first place. That should be the default setting. I mean, it shouldn't take something happening directly to you in order for you to understand it, right? You can feel empathy and sadness for, say, someone who has lost a parent or a child or had some other tragedy happen to them, even if that hasn't personally happened to you. But when it comes to things that we do to other people, it seems to be a different story sometimes, because in that case, we are the guilty ones. We feel the remorse and disappointment in ourselves for what we did. We caused that other person pain, and that guilt and remorse associated with that are very uncomfortable emotions for us to feel. Our ego doesn't like them. So we try to find justifications and reasons for why we did what we did, because nobody wants to think that the real reason might be something darker, something that you don't want to admit even to yourself. It really shouldn't be like this, right? We should not have to learn that it's not okay to be careless with other people's feelings only when someone is careless with ours. We should not have to see how much disrespect can really hurt other people in order for us to understand why it's not okay to disrespect other people. We should not have to have someone brutally make fun of us and embarrass us to realize that it's not okay to do that to anyone ever. Yet with some people, that is what has to happen to them in order for them to see the error of their ways, for lack of a better term. They have to be taken advantage of and be used and discarded by someone else in order to see how awful that behavior is and that they shouldn't do it. They have to have their heart broken and feel for themselves how much it truly hurts in order for them to stop emotionally destroying other people. Basically, some people will only grow the hell up and be a better person to others when they meet themselves in someone else. I wish there was a better way for people to learn that lesson, but I feel like there really isn't, at least not for some people. And that is the reason why I talk so much on this channel about what a complete and utter waste of time it is to try to change someone else. People just aren't built that way. They are going to basically do what they want to do until they either get tired of their own nonsense, or they lose something or someone important to them because of that nonsense, or they get served a big old plate of the same exact nonsense they dished out by karma or the universe or whatever you believe, and they have to sit there and eat every bite. So when you find yourself in a situation where someone has hurt or betrayed you in some way, it's important to remember that you are allowed to feel mad or upset or disappointed or however you want to feel for as long as you want to feel it. But trying to make that person who wronged you see the impact of what they did, or trying to shame or guilt them into apologizing or making it up to you in some way, is probably going to be a waste of your time. It is especially a waste of time when you are dealing with someone who is just toxic. I try not to throw that word around because I feel like it's overused and some people apply it way too liberally to everything. But there are some people who truly just are toxic. They ruin everything they become involved in or involved with because they simply do not care about others. Period. They engage in behaviors that they know are hurtful. They're deceptive. They're disrespectful. They're spiteful. They're mean. They're selfish. They're envious. Those people, they are absolutely never going to learn how toxic and harmful they are to other people unless someone who is somehow worse than they are comes along and wins that race to the bottom with them. This might sound rude, but when I meet people like this, I sometimes kind of hope that they get those lessons served to them quickly, that they get what is coming to them, for lack of a better term. It's not because I enjoy schadenfreude or I'm secretly a jerk who hates people. It's because the sooner those people learn their clearly needed lessons, the sooner they will stop ruining other people's lives by pulling the same tired old tricks over and over and over. Sometimes I think it's unfortunate that people don't come with visible warning labels. Not that most of us would read them, but it would be nice to save ourselves at least a little heartache of having invested in too much in relationships with these folks. And, you know, something that I have noticed about people who are toxic, and maybe you have noticed this too, they are always the victim. Nothing is ever their fault. It's always someone else's. They are the embodiment of waving a giant match in a straw factory and then being shocked, I tell you, when the place catches fire. No accountability ever. And when you try to make them take some kind of responsibility, they will immediately try to make it someone else's fault. If they can't find someone suitable to take that blame, then they'll probably blame it on you. It's exhausting to deal with people like this, truly. And the only real way to win that game is not to play at all. When someone truly cares about you, they also care about how they make you feel. If they hurt you, they will try to fix it. They will take responsibility for their actions. It won't be necessary for them to get what's coming to them because they will be actively trying to mend fences instead of burn bridges. If someone hurts you and they know they hurt you and they make no attempts to apologize or be accountable or, hell, even have a conversation with you about it, danger, danger. That's a giant red flag. Let it be a red flag somewhere else, though, friends, because listen, life is hard sometimes, and it's even more difficult to do all on your own. Having good people around you that truly care about you is healthy for your well-being, and it's important to your journey. Those people that are around you should be your life preservers, your anchors, not drilling holes in your boat when you're not looking, not trying to drown you. Don't try to get people who have been bad to you, who have done you dirty, to see how awful they were to you. Don't keep trying to explain how disappointed or hurt you are or how much what they did affected you. Chances are that they already know. They know what they did. They probably just don't care. And if they can't understand why it was wrong, let them go on about their lives. Remember that what goes around comes around. It's just how life works, and nobody gets an exemption. Toxic people cannot get away with hurting other people forever. Sooner or later, the universe is going to deliver a lesson on their doorstep in a box that may look familiar to them. Oh, look, it's the same nonsense they have been pulling on others right in there. We can only hope that then, when they're served just what they have been giving to others, that they will finally understand and then hopefully change that behavior for the better. That's all I've got for you this week. I'll be back next week with another priority message. Until then, take good care of yourselves. Bye.